Good afternoon. My name is Judy Devine, and I am Sadler's Religion Webinar Coordinator and the moderator for this afternoon's webinar with Scott Cash. Scott has been a Sadler educational consultant for 3 years. Before Sadler, Scott spent 18 years as a Catholic school teacher and catechist, experimenting with technology applications in his work. Today he is here to speak about Experience Sacrament Preparation with a new app. Before we get started, a few housekeeping notes. Everyone is on mute to minimize background noise. If you have questions, please type them in the question box. We are recording the presentation and will do our best, as long as technology cooperates, to get this up for you to view again and share with your colleagues, generally within 2 or 3 days. Those of you live with us today online and who stay for the entire webinar will receive a certificate of participation by the end of the week. It is sent to the email that you used to register. So make sure you don't block emails from Sadler. If you are listening to the recorded webinar, you do not receive a certificate. Now, without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Scott, who will present Experience Sacrament Preparation with a new app. It's all yours, Scott.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Judy said, my name is Scott Cash. I'm in Florida, on the East Coast of Melbourne, Florida, and as she said, I spent 18 years as a Catholic school teacher and as a catechist. So I'm going to speak to you today from the eyes of being in the classroom, because that's what I was trained to do. I went to the University of Central Florida and received my elementary education degree and then went immediately into Catholic school teaching. I also spent a good deal of that time as a youth minister as well. So again, I want to speak to you from that angle. And as you can see on the screen here, Believe, Celebrate, Live is our new sacrament program, which we are very excited about for a few different reasons. First of all, one of the things that I loved about Sadler when I was teaching was that I truly felt listened to as an educator, because Sadler is a small Catholic company, family-owned company, and we can do those kind of things. We can listen to what you want as a director of religious education, as a catechist, as a teacher, and this program shows that. And I say that because when we talked about creating a new sacrament program, we heard from you that you wanted something that was able to meet the parents' needs, that you wanted something that was a little bit different in the sense of not being such a classroom model, and that you were really looking for something that maybe changed the way that sacramental preparation was done. And so 3 unique features of our new Believe, Celebrate, Live program are, number 1, you will notice that there's a ritual in every session, and that ritual helps bring sacramental prep to life. Number 2, we put a Visio Divina piece in each session, and Visio term to me just as of January, because I did Lectio Divina with my teenagers as a teacher, but now Visio Divina with 7-year-olds and beyond is just so powerful that we get this unique piece of art and we have questions. Instead of just saying, hey, let's look at this picture and tell me what you see. No, we have specific questions, and we'll go through that today. And then the third thing that's unique to our program is what I'm here to talk to you about today, and that is the app, the mobile app, that can be downloaded onto your phone or your iPad or any mobile device. I'm going to show it from an iPad today just for size purposes, but it shows the exact same way on a phone. So as you can see, I go out to my home screen, and you can see the icon in the upper left-hand corner. If you go to the App Store, it is called Sadler Sacrament. That's all you have to type into the App Store, and this is the icon that will download. So I'm going to click on the app, and you can see across the bottom that I have choices of Eucharist, Reconciliation, Social Media, Eucharistia, and Reconciliación. So using all of these different choices, I have Session 1 through Session 6 of Eucharist, and that's where we're going to start today. You'll also see at the top that there's a catechist side and a parent side to each Eucharist and Reconciliation. So we're going to start in Session 1 or Chapter 1 in the Eucharist portion of the program. And in Session 1, you can see that 6 options come up for the catechist. Now, I want to let you know that let's kind of just picture for a second that your catechist is sitting at their desk at work and they're like, oh, that's right, I have sacramental prep tonight. What do I have to do to get ready for sacramental prep? Well, they have their phone at their fingertips, and the first thing that they can open is the chapter planner. And this is one of the ways that we're meeting adults where they are, because we know that everybody's tied to their phones today, whether that be our parents or our catechists. Everybody seems to be on their phones. So by having all of these pieces at their fingertips, they're able to access it any time of the day. And you can see here how clearly this is laid out. So me as the catechist sitting at my desk at work, I know I'm going to spend 15 to 20 minutes on pages 7 through 11, and the materials that I need, that may be the most important part for them, because they're like, okay, I've got my battery-operated candle at home, the Chapter 1 videos in the classroom, oh, that's right, my DRE gave me drawing paper and crayons, and of course I have my Bible. Good, I have everything I need for that portion of it. And then there's all the steps, because the reality is we know that in a parish setting, you're not always dealing with trained teachers, and that is one of the challenges that faces faith formation programs. Well, in our app, we're trying to give both the catechist and the parent every possible step that they would need to complete the session for the night. So we go right through the steps: pray the words of the rite of baptism, view and discuss the video, complete an activity about family, share some experiences, look at the text, and notice, I want you to notice how far down the list read and discuss the text are. Because as I said in the beginning, we're trying to get away from that classroom model. We want experience. We want Lectio and Visio Divina. We want the ritual. We want the video. We want the audio experience. Because when we talk, first of all, session 1 of Eucharist talks about baptism. Many of these children don't remember their baptism. So it's our job to help them reconnect to their baptism, rather than just renewing that baptismal vows, which is very important, but rather than just doing that, we're going to take them through in this session, and we are going to connect them to their baptism so that they are prepared for their Eucharist. As we scroll down, we'll see that the next part is going to spend about 20 to 30 minutes, and it gives them the exact pages that they're going to do that. And then finally, they're going to conclude on pages 16 to 18, shows them what they need. And again, they're going to prepare their prayer space, discuss the experiences of participating in a parish. That's group discussion. There's an activity to complete. They're going to make an I'm a Disciple booklet. And again, notice again, we're not talking about read these pages, read those pages. We're doing. We're reading. We're responding. We're making. We're discussing. We're listening. So we're making this more of an experience. So focus your attention again on pages 7 through 11. And now I'm going to go out and show you how to use the app in conjunction with our print material. So I'm going to go out to our Believe, Celebrate, Live. And here's page 7 from the Believe, Celebrate, Live Catechist Guide. And it's belonging to the church. As I said, it's baptism. And again, it takes the catechist. The white portion is just for the catechist. The portion below that is exactly what the students see. So belonging to the church is let's gather for prayer, light that battery-operated candle that you saw on the app, pray the sign of the cross, call attention to the rite of baptism, share about our baptism, and then direct the attention to the photograph on the page. And it tells the catechist exactly what to ask them at the same time. Now, we're going to, and remember, we're going to spend about, I think it said 15 to 20 minutes on this part. Okay, so now we move to page 8, and we want the children to open their hearts to what we're about to experience. So when did you become a part of God's family? What does it mean to you to be part of that family? You are a gift from God just by being you. And then invite the children to think about their family at home. We want to make that home connection there. And then we have them do this in either a group setting or an individual setting. We move over to that portion that I talked to you about before. This is kind of a prelude to that Visio Divina. Look at the beautiful art that is incorporated into each session. But again, this is not just a piece of art for art's sake. We go into the Catechist Guide, and the Visio Divina portion of it is, so, what do the doves represent in the upper right-hand corner? And hopefully you get that connection to the Holy Spirit. And in focus groups, when we talk to adults about this, they pointed out things to us that we didn't even see. For example, take a look at the clouds. How about the light clouds on the left into the dark clouds on the right? And they talk to us about, that's like the darkness going into the light. And then we ask the children, the woman in the blue shawl in the background, what could she be thinking about as she listens to Peter preach? And look at the expressions on the people's faces. Why does Peter take a stance on top of the hill? What does that represent to us? And then we have the baby down at the bottom. And this is us bringing our children into the faith, just like this woman is bringing her child into the faith. And then, again in the white, we see what the catechist will see. And there's that Visio Divina that we talked about in the guide section that I'm expanding right now. Guide the children through an adaptation of Visio Divina. Quiet the children and invite them to take their time looking at the illustration. And there's the questions for you. And I want to let you know, I get this question all the time when I do trainings. They say, Scott, how do I know that if I'm asking the right questions? Well, my answer to that is there are no wrong questions. When you're looking at that piece of art, there are no wrong questions to ask to the kids. And if the kids want to ask their own questions, that's where you really see the power of the program. The power of the program comes through in students and their response. So Visio Divina is just a huge part of this new program that you can't find anywhere else. And then we're going to share, after the silent reflection, we're going to allow time for sharing. What are some things that this picture tells you about Pentecost? What does it tell you about what the disciples saw or heard or felt, maybe even more important? And then how did Jesus take care of the disciples after he returned? So you can see here that there is so much teaching going on without actually sitting and looking at a book and reading every single portion of every single page. And then there's a scripture background as well, as we talked about that Bible that we saw in the app. So let's go back to the app now. And we're going to move on from the chapter planner and show you some of the other features of the app. But that just is one feature that, again, like I said, if your catechist is sitting at work, they have this at their fingertips. Okay? So the next thing that I want to alert you to, and by the way, just so everybody knows, I'm using, in order for you to be able to see my iPad on my PC, I'm using an interface that will not allow me to play audio and video. It's protected by their licensing. So I'm going to have to lead you through that. But just understand that it all does work. I can hear all of it and I can see all of it, but the licensing of you being able to see my mobile device does not allow that. So it's not anything on our end. It's a third party that we're using. So I want to show you the chapter background. And the chapter background is an original story about what the session is going to entail. So in this particular story, a man talks about how he was feeling physically and emotionally ill, that he says, I hate to admit this is a quote from the story, he goes, I hate to admit this, but I didn't want to go to Mass that day. He just didn't want to be there. But as time went on during the Mass, he started to feel uplifted by the community. And by the time the sign of peace rolled around, he's hugging and handshaking people around him, and all of a sudden, he feels part of that community. And how many times has that happened to us where, we haven't really felt like going to Mass, or we haven't really felt like going to faith formation class or sacramental prep class, but then we get there and the community as a whole is so uplifting to us. You see, these chapter backgrounds used to be something boring like, well, today in class you're going to talk about, but this is not this. It's a story. It's an engaging story. And we listen to that, and it gives us, as the catechist, it gives us background of how we're going to portray that to the kids, where we say, hey, look around. You're surrounded by your church community here. at Our Lady of Lourdes or Holy Name or wherever you're from. And that faith community is going to carry you through this sacramental prep. So that's what the chapter background does. The read aloud story can also be found in the text. So the reason that we decided to put it into the app is because we thought that it was something that was very important to families being able to share at home. And a lot of times in your faith formation situations, they can't bring the books home. So we decided that we would put it right in here into the app. And this is a story about Luis and his baby cousin and how he went to his baptism. Again, remember, session 1 is all about baptism. And how Luis kind of could smell the wax of the candle melting, and he heard Father Keith talk to his little cousin saying, "Benjamin, receive the light of Christ." He said, "It reminded me of my birthday when everybody sang and I blew out my candles." And he wants to go on and keep Ben as part of the faith. So it was a powerful experience to him, and this read-aloud story is very important to be able to be shared at home, and that's why we decided to put it in as part of the app. The next part is one of my favorite parts of the program, and that's the chapter video. And again, as we talked about, you may be able to see this, but you're not going to be able to hear it, but I can kind of guide you through it. So again, we're talking about baptism here, and it's a fast-moving video. They're all fast-moving videos that are about just a few minutes in length, and what they do is they engage the kids. We suggest that the video clips be used at the very beginning of class to kind of get them excited about what it is that they're going to talk about. And it's been very well received in the sense of being engaging, and I'll get back to the video as soon as it comes up, but it's been very well received. And then there's the hymn, the Lead Us to the Water. If you remember at the beginning of the webinar, I talked about there being a ritual act in each of the sessions. And the ritual act is experienced through song. So there's sometimes in some programs where you just pop a CD in and you just kind of listen to the song. Well, we decided that we wanted to kind of take it a step further and not just have them be passive in listening, we wanted them to be involved. So Lead Us to the Water is the song as part of this particular session. And look, I want you to look in the Catechist Guide and look at what we're going to do during Lead Us to the Water. We're going to need a white tablecloth. We're going to need some holy water. We're going to need a baptismal candle. We're going to need a Bible on a stand. And then we're going to have the CD player. Okay? And then what we're going to do is, as the song is going on, we're going to ask the children to quietly bless themselves, briefly describe the ritual action that's about to take place, and then have the children watch you bless yourself with the water in the bowl, and then have them do it as well. We're going to conclude the prayer ritual with the following mystagogy, or reflection. And then you say, what feeling did you have as you were blessing yourself with that holy water? What words from the song or the prayer do you remember most? What stood out from that song? And then what is it like for you to be called a follower of Jesus? In this way, we're not just being passive, we're experiencing. Okay, my video is ready to roll. Shrink it down a little bit. Let's see if I can get it here. No. Yeah, it won't shrink down enough. Okay, so back to the ritual. So the ritual seems to be, as I talk to people, this was one of the things, as I mentioned at the beginning, this was one of the things that we were asked for in a new sacramental prep program, is that people wanted it to be more experiential. This ritual does just that. And this is just one example. Again, this Eucharist program has 6 sessions to it. Reconciliation has 6 sessions to it. And in those sessions, there's going to be a ritual each night of sacramental prep. And we have heard that that has been the most powerful part of the program. Okay. We're going to go back one page and show you again another way that students can respond to their sacramental prep. Become what you believe. What is the Pope's name? Where was I baptized? Getting them to understand what parish that they're a part of, who their pastor is. Sometimes we talk about bishops and who they are. What do I like best about my parish? What makes me special? Then we have a certain saint that we talk about in every session. As we go back out to the app, the last portion of it for the catechist is celebrating inclusion. Again, as we talked about before, not all of your teachers are, or not all your catechists are trained teachers. So it's very important that we understand going into it that not everybody learns the same way. You know, sometimes we have students that have attention problems, and sometimes we have students that are on the autism spectrum, and people that are not trained teachers, well, even trained teachers sometimes aren't able to decipher and differentiate which students have which disabilities. So in this celebrating inclusion portion, we give you some ideas, some strategies that can help you to kind of reach those students who might have problems. And you'll know, as I'm sure they, you know, if you have students that are up and down all the time, or students who have trouble focusing, this is where you would go. So it says, to complete page 8, small group sharing can provide additional opportunities for auditory learning. Stop and think of ways that you can intentionally include other sounds in a lesson. If the kinesthetic approach is best, meaning that a student needs to get up and move, you will want to incorporate movement into that activity. This could include the children acting out their responses. There's hands-on learning here at the bottom as well. Then we come up to the top. Make use of beautiful illustration to engage visual learners. When using pictures, remember to always read the pictures to the learners who have maybe autism or Down syndrome, or anyone who is blind or visually impaired. And again, we talk more about tactile kinesthetic. And we even say, consider letting children baptize a baby doll using a bowl of water. Those kids who are tactile, that will mean the world to them. As adults, if we come up and bless ourselves during the ritual, that may have a great deal of meaning to us. But students who are tactile, if they're able to do the ritual, if they're able to baptize another child or a baby doll, but in their mind it's a child, then they are getting what we want out of the ritual action. We also have our living faith at home, growing in faith together. This was a big part of what you asked for as well. So I like to call these kind of dinner table discussion starters, where we become disciples of Jesus through baptism and the doorway to the church, which is what that video is about, by the way. But it says, talk with your child about why you wanted him or her to be a member of the church. Why did you want them baptized? Look at photographs and share memories of your child's baptism, including the people who joined them in the celebration of the sacrament. And this is kind of a way to connect what they've been doing in faith formation to what is happening in the home. Because a lot of times, again, one of the biggest things that I hear is that, Scott, how do we get them to stop just dropping off? We want them to be a part of it, and this is how, is by having this portion. And that's what we're going to get to next, is the parent portion of the app. So in review, the catechist has their chapter planner so they can get themselves prepared. They have celebrating inclusion for children with disabilities. They have the background story to kind of get them energized and ready to go for the night. They have the read aloud story, which is also in the book. They have the chapter video, which is also on DVDs that comes with the program. And finally, we have the song, which is also on CDs, which comes with the program and has the ritual. Now, we'll go back out to the forward-facing page of the app, and you'll notice next to catechist is parent. So we're going to click on the parent side of the app. Again, we're going to click on Session 1 or Chapter 1, and many of the same things will be there for the parent. One of the things that we did a little bit different is the very first thing is that at-home session plan, which it can be used in two ways. The first way is obviously, for homeschooling, parents who aren't coming to faith formation, or students, I'm sorry, who are not coming to faith formation. What can the parents do with them at home? Well, here's an at-home session plan. But further than that, it helps extend the experience to home if they are coming to faith formation. So in the Believe session, it tells the parents exactly what to do with their children. In the Celebrate section, the same thing. Read these pages, talk about these specific things. Read these pages and talk about Christian initiation. And then finally, the Live session. The last part of the session describes what it means to live as members of the church, and it wants them to go through the print version together. Again, this can be done as a connection to sacramental prep, or it can be done as an individual component at home. The Living Faith at Home was another thing that parents wanted included. That's that same page that was in the book, but now we put it on the app as well, so that all of those dinner table discussion starters, again, are right there for the parents, right there at a touch of a button, and they immediately, parents are connected with what happened during sacramental prep so that they can follow their children every step of the way. And by the way, if you're wondering, this shows the exact same way on an iPhone or on an Android, any kind of cellular device. It shows the exact same way. Again, I'm just using this because of size. It's a little bit bigger. And then you can see there's the parent. The parent gets the Living Faith at Home. They get the Visio Divina piece that we talked about earlier. And it talks to the parents about reflecting on the scripture art. And it gives the parents the questions to ask as well, just like we put in the Catechist Guide. So we're giving the parents the tools to succeed at home as well. And then this Growing in Faith Together, the third one, those are those discussion starters that you already saw on the other side. You also have the chapter background, which is that story that we talked about on the Catechist side, the read aloud story that we also talked about on the Catechist side, and then just understand that the chapter video that's on the app is just a clip of the video. It's just a clip. It's not the full, so if the child goes to faith formation class for prep, they're going to get about a 4 or 5 minute video, where this will only be about 45, 50 seconds of that same video. It's not a different one, it's just a clip of it. And then of course they also get the song clip as well. So again, what we're able to do here is we're able to connect faith formation sacramental prep to the home, which seems to be one of the biggest concerns and one of the biggest features of this new program. Because you know how it goes. If you have 6 sessions, not all of your students make it to all 6. Well, now this is an excellent way to say, okay, go home, go to your app, go to session 2, complete this, this, and this. You can even have them talk to you about it or hand it back to you so you know that they're caught up and then they're ready for session 3 or ready for session 4 or so forth. Again, across the bottom, there is a social media portion of it, which goes out to the United States Catholic Council of Bishops, Twitter, Facebook, our We Believe blog that we have. We also have the bilingual portion as well for Eucharistia and Reconciliación. And you can see there at the top, we have it for both the catechist and for the families. And now we'll move on to any questions that you might have about how to use the app in conjunction with our print.
Scott, thank you. A couple of questions came in, but I think you've answered them. The one was being able to use it as a home program. And then the other question was, is it also available on Android devices? And I believe you said it is?
It is, yes.
Okay, so it's both for the Apple devices or for Android devices. So that works.
Yeah, it'll be the App Store for Apple and the Google Play for Android.
Okay, very good. Thank you. They were the only, I've had customers ask if the app can be used on a laptop.
The app cannot be used on a laptop unless you have a Mac. If you have a Mac, there's an app store there, and you can download it there. But if you have a PC, you're not going to be able to bring the app there. But so if you don't have a mobile device, I could see where that would be a problem. But the app is free. I don't know if I mentioned that before, and it will download to any mobile device.
Okay, that was the question just came in. Is there a cost for the app?
There is not a cost for the app. But one of the things that I wanted to emphasize today was the biggest reason for this webinar was people were asking, how do I use the app in conjunction with the print? Because there are so many aspects that the app, as you can see, the app has 6 portions for the catechist, but there's so many other aspects of that first session that aren't in the app. We didn't want to put everything in the whole app because it just would have become too bulky for you. So we wanted to, and like things like the video only being a clip, and the song only being a clip, and you not being able to do the ritual just with the app. That's why I was bouncing back and forth between the app and the print to show you how nicely they kind of mesh together.
One question we have, and you mentioned this, Scott, the issue with the video clips is not
Yes.
the video clip itself, it's the interface that we're using so he could show this on his computer.
Yes.
He uses a piece called Reflector, and it mirrors his iPad, but it doesn't allow you, because of licensing, it doesn't allow him to show the clips or hear them. So that's
Right.
what the issue is there.
Yeah, it's an issue through Reflector, not through Sadlier.
Yes. Okay. It says, apparently this person tried, it says, I tried it on my tablet and that's what's happening.
On their tablet. Now, so it also depends on what kind of Wi-Fi connection you have or what kind of cellular connection you have. So if you look up, I have 3 bars in my Wi-Fi. If I were to go out to the video right now, I could play it no problem, but you guys wouldn't be able to see anything. Like for example, on my end, you can see it's starting to scroll, and then this is what happens because of the reflector portion of it.
I think what this person is, they're trying to play it on their tablet right now. Let me ask one question here. Hold on. Let me ask this person a question. Okay, for some reason it's not, the video is not showing on hers either. And I know it shows on your iPad when you do it, so.
Right. I just actually showed it today on a few different, on reconciliation and on Eucharist. So,
okay.
So I do.
Let me let me answer this one person a minute. Okay.
Okay. And again, I want everyone to kind of keep in mind that the DVD that's part of the program is really where, the student, that's what you would show during faith formation class, because that's the full video. We just put that clip in here just to kind of, get the catechist or the parent some background onto what their kids are seeing or what they're going to see that particular day in faith formation. So you wouldn't really use this to show the kids. You're going to use that DVD, that full video, that full 4 to 5 to 6 minutes instead of just this 40 to 50 seconds, and the same thing with the song.
Okay, 1 second, Scott, okay? And then we will, all right?
No problem.
All right. Let me do this too. If anybody has any questions, my email is simple also. It's jdevine, D-E-V-I-N-E, @sadlier.com. And so for the person that's having that issue with the video, they're going to email me, and then we'll see what we can get that solved.
Excellent.
But I think that's everything, Scott.
Wonderful.
So on behalf of Sadlier, Scott, thank you for taking the time today to be with us. And as a reminder, the webinar is posted, will be posted by the end of the week. So thank you all and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.